Welcome to the free audio rendering of Not Without Scars 2. Such an insightful and impactful work must be accessible to the countless number of people living similar life experiences. Becoming a best-selling author pales in comparison to creating a tool capable of instilling hope in the multitude of people trapped in the valley of decision. My greatest profit comes in helping others emerge victorious over their life struggles. My goal is to encourage individuals to follow their dream. My message: you must never quit on your faith, pursuing your aspiration or vision. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Take a moment, invite your family, friends and acquaintances, and enemies to listen to this work chapter by chapter. It is free to listen as well as free to subscribe. Peace, love, and phenomenal blessing.
How do I write my life story? I know hurt and pain. I don't like either one, whether physical or emotional. Herein contains my story, Not Without Scars, Part 2. Optimism, perseverance, persistence, resilience. 2 decades of personal struggle. Optimism. I faced a new millennium with hopefulness. Perseverance. My ego, my humble beginnings, my desire to achieve never allow me to turn away from a difficult task. Persistence. Opposition should be anticipated as an effective strategy to victory surfaces. Resilience. Difficulties do not automatically spell termination. Scars reveal my imperfection as reminders of past episodes of pain, sorrow, or triumph. Scars can tell beautiful story endings or relay misery that wishes to remain anonymous. This work is meant to help others who have experienced decades of struggle. When struggles appear to never end, you must get through the night and face the challenge of a new dawn with fresh hope.
Chapter 10, The Real Estate Lifeline. Introduction. Following the collapse of CAMST and all my subsequent commerce endeavors was the daily struggle of feeding my family. Long gone were the days of luxury. I had the same struggles as any other man with a criminal record. No one would hire me. I went to a community college president who had played golf at my expense on numerous occasions, but he would not give me an employment position. When all was well, he made special accommodation for the play to be presented. When I needed help and my name was not one to attach oneself, he denied me what I needed most: a simple helping hand. There were others who followed the same path. Of course, borrowing money was out of the question. In fact, those who actually owed me money found this the perfect occasion to avoid my calls and, of course, avoid repayment of outstanding loans. My choices were becoming few as option after option proved fruitless. The barometer at home was measuring pressure in totally different gauges. I finally had to sell the building that housed CAMST, which satisfied the bank and allowed for the sale of our home. This meant another home had to be purchased. How difficult would it be with no income and credit history, now at the lowest point possible? I turned to straw buyers, people with good credit. There were 3 such persons that I had in mind. They were in desperate need of cash. The amount that I could make available to them was definitely not in their immediate realm of possibility. It was not what I wanted to do, but it was the most convenient for all parties concerned. My trustworthiness was still an acceptable commodity. My integrity remained intact in spite of my economic plunge and somewhat of a good character smear hit as a result of a CAMPS closure. I would provide them a substantial amount of cash to make the purchase for me. I would use the equity in the house to have a liquid cash to start rebuilding an economic upturn while making the mortgage payments. It was a tough sale, and everything would have to work that I attempted in order to stay viable. Risky? Yes. Was it worth the gamble? Yes. Did I have any other options? No. Had I been in this type of situation before? Often. Had I always come through? Percentages were iffy. Had I prayed? Yes. Would I continue to pray? Yes. Would I take the risk? Yes, I would. My family's well-being was on the line. There was nothing that I would not do to retain my family. The family was what I had always wanted. I would do whatever I deemed necessary within my power to make sure that I retain my family. This was a Mark Carvin MCO's decision. Historical. Go confidently in the direction of your dream. Live the life you imagine. Henry David Thoreau. All lines will not get you safely to shore. With all confidence, I knew that I could make things work. I had a three-step strategy. It would certainly require a carefully devised set of plans to quickly rebuild a commerce platform. The direction could be employed and discipline with discipline and tenacity. I possessed the work ethic and determination. If I needed any other incentive, my family remaining together was all the further impetus that I required. I had come too far to allow my dream to be destroyed. I was determined to continue the life that I had imagined and watched come true. The alternative, give up and die, was never a part of my thinking. I would never surrender to setback. Challenges come to be defeated. I was ready for whatever the next set of hurdles would reveal. I was still a pastor. I was still a servant of the people. My heart never allowed me to stop caring for the people and meeting the needs of others whenever and wherever possible. In the midst of my trial, I paved the way for a friend's son to enter college. This same individual was without a vehicle. I gave him one of mine to drive. Another friend faced eviction. I supplied him with the resources to keep his family from being displaced. It was not for any other reason than I felt that it was in my power to help, and I did. Perhaps I had failed again to learn the lesson that people will not automatically treat you the way you expect them in return. Life is not meant to be lived in a vacuum. Today, I will still help others. No matter what the future holds, I will not stop caring for others and sharing my resources with those in need, no matter how meager my possessions may be. I have long since given up on my being misunderstood or appreciated by people. I have chosen to rest with being loved by most of the few who remain close to me. In the process of gaining respect and love from those closest to me, family or friends, these are the individuals at the end of my sojourn. They have grasped understanding of my being and have grown appreciative of my actions and intents. Choices that I have made did not always provide the safety net that I desired. In the moment when entirely alone, I have made choices that felt right for the good of those I cared most about. In reaching for Lifeline, I have always felt that mistakes can happen. The next line may prove a better anchor than the previous one. Life has presented me with numerous riddles. Some I did not solve. I have also tried to force pieces of the puzzle to fit, when in retrospect, they truly did not go where I wanted to place them. So it has been with friends and acquaintances. They did not fit, and I tried to bring them along anyway. I grabbed hold to some opportunities that were really traps and snares. I ended up in a place that I least desired. Social Black experience. If you have no confidence in self, you are twice defeated in the race of life. Marcus Garvey. Compounded errors. It appeared that I had arrived at the party of the real estate market too late. I needed to make 3 transactions to secure a fresh start and be able to move forward in my life again. The first transaction was secure another home for my family. The second transaction would allow me to rehab and refurbish the church for which I now was pastor. The third and final transaction would provide the monetary fluidity to once again launch commerce initiatives to sustain what would be necessary to meet payments and function in the commerce world. Confidence in my abilities was never lacking. To have no confidence, I would be admitting that life was all but over. I would never be accused of lacking confidence or faith, confidence in myself and faith in God. My foray into the real estate ventures was a clear indication of desperation. These steps compounded the error that I had allowed to happen at the hands of others. I now plunged myself into issues for which I bore full responsibility. However, these were acts where I had a potential end game that could resolve matters honorably. As in time passed, by the time a Black man enters the financial realm, that door to the industry has closed. My timing was definitely off. Even recognizing what was the potential drawback, my personal dilemma demanded I take the step regardless of the late entry. My efforts to salvage my life and my aspiration yielded to compounded errors. I could easily regard these events as poor judgment. However, the fact that I had been sabotaged prior by those around me, also my fault for hiring them and poor management of their action, I gave myself little alternative but to thrive or survive. The pain of my loss was horrific: financial, reputation, community platform, commerce endeavor, social endeavor, and person to person respect and access. All of these losses could not compare to the loss of family structure, which was on the horizon. Theological. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Mark chapter 8, verse 36, King James Version. The depth of a fall is incalculable. The struggle to retain financial stability was a cancer that ignited so many other visible shortcomings. The persecution and second guessing by others really did not bother me. I knew the basis of how easily things can fall apart, especially when your plans are humongous. Small bets usually return small winnings. I invested my life into all my initiatives. Subsequently, a loss would cost me my life represented up to that point. A victory would have propelled to levels unprecedented or echelons uncharted. Of enormous significance, the ability to retain your soul, your identity was necessary, no matter what the experiences may dictate. Losing one's soul is not only an eternal concept of going to hell upon death, but also losing your direction and meaningful living while yet alive. My concentration would focus on achieving goals without losing who I was, no matter how, where I ended up. My soul meant that I understood my purpose, and nothing could take that away from me. The good times could not shadow who I am. The worst of times would never shadow who I was. The soul of Mark Carvin, MCO, was not up for sale or bartering. The fight to hold on to your soul may lead to a fall beyond any calculable contemplation. The real test for retention of the soul lie at the low end of the spectrum. Isolated from what has been labeled as the success module, the Job end of the spectrum will evaluate what an individual thinks of their own soul. I had an ongoing Job experience. Life may have seemed to steamroll me at times. It is in these moments that depression is conquered, suicide is rebuked, isolation is debunked, and you have the soul to soul talk. Soul, why are you disquieted in me? Trust in God.